what about former President Trump and, not being terribly religious, not being a churchgoer?
Believes in God, you know? So there you have it.
Do you think President Biden believes in God?
No, not at all. He worships the devil.
So I see. So and that's the difference between the two, is that one worships God and one worships the devil. And how do you see that manifested in President Biden?
It's showing.
No, I guess where do you see the devil worship come out in President Biden?
All over. All over the country. Like everywhere. It's everywhere.
So I guess tell me a little bit more. I know you're saying it's all over the country. I'm just curious how like specifically, where do you see like, oh, that's because President Biden worships the devil, that blank?
Child sex trafficking, the schools, kids, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
And do you think President Biden's responsible for child sex trafficking?
Yes.
You do. In what ways?
Every way.
Are you a QAnon supporter?
No.
No, I'm curious what the child sex trafficking and the president, where that comes from.
I don't know. Ask him.
Okay. You have President Biden, who goes to church every Sunday. You have President Biden, who has lived...
Which church, yeah.
Well, he goes to the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I know, sure. Yeah, and yet he supports abortion and what have you. I mean, sorry, but Biden is not a Christian, okay? Pretty much everyone knows that. And Trump, to some degree...
You say pretty much everybody knows that. A lot of people think he's the most religious president we've had in a long time, the most God-adoring president.
Who thinks that? You've seen polls that say that? I've never seen a poll that says anything about Biden being religious. I just can't imagine that many Democrats really think, or that anyone really even would paint Biden as a Catholic. That strikes me as odd. I don't know where that idea even came from.
Well, he's been a Catholic his whole life, and he still worships in a Catholic church every week.
But in terms of being a religious man, I'm just not buying it. No, sorry. Yeah.
Can you say one nice thing about President Biden?
Absolutely nothing at all. There is not one thing that man has ever done in his entire political career. I did not like the man when he was in Congress.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I did vote for Trump. I've never really voted before. To me, it was like always watching WWF wrestling. They pump up this guy, and then he's supposed to win. They pump up that guy. That guy's supposed to win. It's like theatrics in play every single time. I don't care which side it is. They all just go blah, 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 and do whatever it is that they're going to do.
So you voted in the last election. Do you accept the results of the last election?
Unfortunately, I'm probably one of those election deniers that people talk about. But I also wear red, white, and blue, which, according to some people, makes me a... As far as the election goes, yeah, I don't think that the election was done fair and square. I've been watching a lot of information from a lot of people. Factual information. Dr. Frank's a great source of information. He started in the beginning pure on accident, kind of like I started my journey on accident. I didn't come out here to try to find all the stuff that I found out. It's just kind of happened as I've gone along. And I mean, what do I think? What do I know? I mean, gosh, if I talk long enough, just about anybody could think I'm absolutely crazy.
My vote was stolen. Okay, may I? Okay, okay, all right. So I will. When I woke up, okay, after voting, after watching the numbers, and I woke up at 5 o'clock on November the 4th, okay, when I woke up and I saw those numbers change the way they did in my state of Pennsylvania and across this nation to the point where they had excuses, where they had no reason in my mind, okay, when I went to sleep that evening at 1:30, 2 o'clock, I knew who that president was when I was going to wake up. That's not what happened. My vote was stolen. The Democrats and Republicans both have some real wrongdoers. I'll agree to that, okay? I have voted both sides. I voted for Barack Obama twice, and I felt duped, okay? And I know I will never vote Democrat again in my life, ever, okay? And I take that to the bank, okay? They'll never change. Their color has been written. The Communist Party has now taken hold of them, and they are directing them. And people have got to wise up, and they need to do their research. And they need to understand that the truth, the real truth is out there.
Let's talk about President Biden. How you feel about the 2020 election? Do you think he's the legally elected president?
He's not my president.
Explain that to me.
He's not. He's illegal. It's shadow government. He's not my president.
You know, I find that compelling for obvious reasons. What about, like, so what's the shadow government, and how is he not your president because he wasn't legally elected, or because you didn't want him to be president?
He wasn't legally elected.
How did he get elected?
He didn't. He got selected.
And who did the selecting there?
The swamp.
But what about the votes? The votes that were, you know, that he had more votes. How did that matter?
Yeah, that mattered. It was done illegally.
And did you feel that in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
In what way?
The ballots, the in the middle of the night, all that.
So you think that meant that he didn't really win because something happened in the middle of the night?
Yeah, what do you think?
I believe that there was some sort of fraud going on as far as the election goes.
Do you think that President Biden was legitimately elected?
No, nor do I believe that he got 81 million votes.
And do you believe that Donald Trump got more votes than anybody in history on that same day, or second most to Biden?
Yes.
So you think all the Trump votes were fine, but the Biden votes were curious?
You know what? That's a. I feel like that's sort of loaded. There's an algorithm. Okay, I think that there's an algorithm that is being used based off of polling in order to add votes that did not exist. Okay, there was a record turnout for voting in the 2020 election, right? Normally you have just about the same number of people that are going to be voting.
Goes up a little bit each presidential election.
Right, but this one to spike in the middle of the night is curious to me also. All of a sudden there's all of these votes for President Biden, and knowing that the Dominion voting systems were capable of connecting to the internet when they're not supposed to be capable of connecting to the internet, and those fallacies being told, that causes me to be very speculative as to whether or not it was an honest and fair election. Sir, I don't believe in the two-party system. I believe it's really a uniparty.